Walking with Bartram. This month, we are walking where William Bartram crossed over the Eastern Continental Divide into the Little Tennessee River Valley. To make the long hike easier, we head in the opposite direction, from Jones Gap over Scaly Mountain to Hale Ridge Road. As we make this journey, let's learn about Bartram's Garden in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which is the origin and termination of William Bartram's historic travels. Here, he created one of the most significant botanical gardens in North America.
My name is Joel Fry. I'm the curator, historian, archaeologist here at Bartram's Garden in Philadelphia. This is a National Historic Landmark. That's a high level of federal significance for a historic site. And it's also a city registered historic site. Very complex site because it's in the middle of a very industrial river valley now, but preserves a big chunk. We have now close to 50 acres preserved here at Bartram's Garden. John Bartram buys this property in 1728, a 100-acre farm to begin with, and then he adds 140 acres to the north, 100 acres to the south. And around the time Bartram comes here to settle permanently, he begins his garden here. And he also seems to begin to travel around, going places, finding new things, bringing plants back here. So John and Ann Mendenhall Bartram have a very successful life here. They had 9 children born here, only 1 who died as an infant. And all those children work in the farm and the garden. The women mostly run the dairying business. They turn the milk into butter and cheese and sell that in the Philadelphia market. John is raising wheat as the main cash crop for the property, and he's also enlarging the garden. There's a nice plan that William Bartram, the son, made a kind of sketch aerial view of the garden in 1758. Shows the house in a somewhat earlier state that you see behind me, and then the very rectilinear garden laid out with straight paths running down to the river. So maybe half of the garden was a productive, full-sun, herbaceous garden, and the other half was woody trees, woody shrubs. Pretty soon it attracts attention of people in Philadelphia County. This is a rural part of Philadelphia County. It's all farms, but in the city proper, which is about 6 or 7 miles from here, he begins making friends with Benjamin Franklin and some other Quakers, and they begin telling people, oh, there's this Quaker, John Bartram, who knows an awful lot about plants. He's really our expert. He gets introduced to a similar-aged Quaker in London named Peter Collinson. Collinson begins asking Bartram, hey, can you send me some plants? I'll exchange some clothing or cloth or books. For a year or two, it's kind of this personal exchange where Bartram's packing up boxes of seeds and plants for Peter Collinson. He just fell into this connection with Europe and these wealthy people who would pay him for American seeds mostly. He continues that his entire life, and his sons, both William and John Jr., continued that business after the kind of break period of the American Revolution where they can't ship to England. This is the famous plant that John and William Bartram discover, and then William saves it from extinction by bringing it into cultivation here at the very end of his travels in the South. So one of the last things he records doing is going to collect seed of the very curious shrubs on the Altamaha,
which we have honored with the name of the illustrious Dr. Benjamin Franklin, Franklinia Altamaha, William Bartram.
When William Bartram returns, he picks up the family business, becomes very active in that. He probably brought back a nice stash of what he could carry on horseback, including Franklinia. He probably takes up part of the work of the farm and garden with his brother. We actually know even during the British occupation, British officers were contacting the Bartrams saying, we know about your father, John, and we're sorry he died. So John dies right after the Battle of Brandywine, just before the British moved to occupy Philadelphia. Benjamin Franklin, long a family friend, he becomes the first U.S. ambassador to France. And one of his early letters, he says, now that I'm in Paris, I can sell all your seeds and plants here. They begin rapidly sending plants to Amsterdam, to the Dutch, to the Germans on the Rhine Valley, to the French, and then to the English as well. So very rapidly, William Bartram becomes this kind of scientific head of the garden, but he works in the garden. There's a famous visit of the some of the major members of the Constitutional Convention in the summer of 1787, Hamilton and Madison, and a lot of the southern delegates from Georgia and North Carolina and South Carolina, some of whom William may have met on his travels. They all show up in two big carriages at maybe 6 at dawn in the morning, and they say, oh, we were quite surprised to find the Bartrams barefoot digging in the mud. I think a lot of people who've looked at William Bartram's biography often think, oh, he just came home and did nothing for the rest of his life. But running a botanic garden or a big garden and a farm is labor every moment of the day. So he's certainly employed being a gardener, horticulturist, farmer, artist, produces quite a bit of art in Philadelphia. But a major thing William Bartram also did for the next 10 years or more after he returns is work on his book.
Made it! Join us next time for the 7th section of our hike, Jones Gap to Hickory Knoll Road. Connect with us on YouTube and Facebook. If you enjoyed this, click the thumbs up and follow us to see the next episode.